Good morning. My name is Claudine Tong, and on behalf of the music and worship teams, welcome to the Sunday worship service with First Unitarian Church of Oakland. Please turn your camera off while we begin our service and light our chalice and candles. This will allow us to begin with a quiet space. We will turn our cameras on to greet each other later in the service. Please note that we are recording this service, so if you don't want to be in the recording, please keep your camera turned off. For best viewing experience, we recommend that you make certain you have the up-to-date version of the Zoom app on your computer. Welcome.
Good morning. I'm Kathy Rades from your Board of Trustees, and I'm here with a few reminders and announcements this morning. First, we invite you to celebrate the new year by taking time to learn about Earth justice. Watch 2040, a film described as both hopeful and realistic on Zoom with discussion opportunities to follow. That's going to be Saturday, January 1st at 6:30, a great way to kick off the year. Phone numbers and email addresses to RSVP and receive links are in the chat. Second, a quick reminder, any contribution to the congregation that you want to deduct from 2021 taxes needs to be postmarked by December 31st, 2021. Thank you to each of you who gives to support the mission and work of the congregation. And third, many, many thanks to our software transition team for leading the congregation in adopting new tools to support the future. One of the changes is a new phone number that you can text to send financial gifts to the congregation. It appears in at least one publication incorrectly, so we want to share the correct number this morning. That's 510-880-1726. One more time, 510-880-1726. Thank you all for your continued support.
Hi, our speaker today is Ms. Ronnie Boyd. Ronnie is a first-year student at Star King School for the Ministry and has been a Unitarian Universalist since she was 19 years old. Ronnie experienced a call to ministry in 2018 at the Unitarian Universalist Association General Assembly when she served as the Thrive Young Adult Coordinator for young adults of color. Ronnie is critical of the carceral state and works for abolition. Ronnie has been an organizer for about 10 years and currently organizes for housing justice in the East Bay. Welcome, Ronnie. Then I think we're going to be doing our chancel lighting. And here we have our slide. So if you would please join me in lighting the Congregational Chalice by remaining on mute and saying these words along with me. We light this chalice, symbol of Unitarian Universalism. May it remind us of the divine spark in all creation, the power of love to heal what is broken and to be grateful for life's blessings each day. Today is the first day of Kwanzaa, an annual celebration of African American culture that is held from December 26th to January the 1st. Please enjoy with me this reflection from Sherry Weston Vigil.
Hi, this is to tell you a little bit about Kwanzaa. Maulana Karenga, professor and chairman of Black Studies at California State University, Long Beach, created Kwanzaa in 1966. Kwanzaa celebrated its 50th birthday in 2016. After the Watts riots in Los Angeles, Dr. Karenga searched for ways to bring African Americans together as a community. It celebrates African heritage, unity, and culture, over 2,000 languages spoken on the African continent. Kwanzaa adopted one of the many unifying languages, Swahili, which is spoken by millions on the African continent. The name Kwanzaa comes from a Swahili phrase meaning first fruits. Kwanzaa is rooted in African culture. However, people from all racial and ethnic backgrounds are welcome to join in the celebration. Red, black, and green. The colors of Kwanzaa are a reflection of the Pan-African movement representing unity for peoples of African descent worldwide. Black for the people, red for the noble blood that unites all people of African descent, and green for the rich land of Africa.
We light the Black Lives Matter candle today in honor of the first principle of Kwanzaa, Umoja, to strive for and maintain unity in the family, community, nation, and race. May this light and intention bless and keep us in solidarity one to another. Amen and Ashe. When the power of love overcomes the love of power, the world will know peace. Jimi Hendrix, African-American singer, songwriter. Next, the chancel choir performs a South African freedom song from the era of apartheid, Sif Amandia. Hello. Now we will unmute our microphones and greet our neighbors.
Hello, people.
Hello.
Hello, everyone.
Good morning.
Hello, everybody.
Hello.
Hi, people.
Good morning, all.
Hello.
Hey, MJ. Hey, Dick.
Hi, Carol.
Everybody.
Good morning, Claudine. Hi, Carol.
Judith, Marilyn.
Hello, everyone.
Hey, hey, Helen.
Mary Jane.
Go somewhere. Ron.
Eric. Hi, Helen. Hi, Ron. Silly. Hi, Mary. Hi, Marilyn. Hi, Dave.
Hi,
MJ.
Hi, Jeff. Hi, Billy.
Cora, Bill.
Hi, Marilyn.
Alex. Hi, Cora.
Dave.
Hi, Noemi. Hi, Pastor Soto.
Ron. Kathleen.
Tara.
Hi,
Darling, Gregory.
Kathleen and Noemi.
Hi,
Everybody. Thank you for being here, Ronnie.
Yes,
Thank
Ronnie.
Ronnie Boyd.
Hello, everybody.
Hello. Hello.
All right. And we will have time to do a little bit more coffee hour. All right. Okay. So my name's Claudine Tong, and I've been a member of this congregation since 2009. I'm grateful to reflect with you today on Umoja and how I understand living into it. The official Kwanzaa website defines Umoja Unity as the first and foundational principle of the Ngutso Saba, for without it, all the other principles suffer. Unity is both a principle and practice of togetherness in all things, good and of mutual benefit. It is a principle and a harmonious together, not simply a being together. This is why value rootedness is so important, even indispensable. As we come together to end what has been both a joyous and rough year for many and face new challenges in the year to come, unity in this space with you, my church people, fellow Unitarian Universalists who put coming together and being present in body, soul, and mind for each other in both joy and sorrow means we've got each other's backs. That I know that I can reach out and someone who loves me will respond. Unity means that this compassion is far reaching, beyond the people we know and love personally, out to our neighbors and our surrounding cities and beyond. It means we stand in the rain or march through the streets after working all day or caring for kids, or both in these online Zoom days, to bring about a future we might not live to see, as the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. and so many others did to pave the way for us. Unity means that we set aside our differences, our personal preferences, for the greater good that we know in the end will benefit all of us. Unity means that we will together find a way for all to be fed, clothed, housed, and healthy. That's what Umoja means to me. And now we're going to have Pastor Ronnie Boyd. Ronnie Boyd, give us our pastoral prayer.
Pastoral prayer? Okay. So, if you'll be with me, beloveds, right now I just want to lift us up in body, mind, and spirit as we share the names of folks that are going through grief, experiencing loss, experiencing sickness. We want to hold them in our care. We want to hold them in our beloved community. We want to send them healing energy, healing thoughts, prayers. If you want to light a candle for them, that would be appropriate. But we want to draw them into a circle of healing and a circle of trust, so they know that we care about them and we want them to be whole. In Jagara culture, when someone is sick in a community, it means that everyone is sick. So collectively, we develop healing practices that not only heal the person, but heal the community from the sickness. So I invite us to be present for our community members. I invite us to feel their energy, to be present for what they're going through, and know that your thoughts, your prayers, and your energy will be healing for them. Oh, first, I just wanted to thank you for the Chalice lighting the grounding this morning. And I want to thank you all for having me. I hope you all are enjoying your holiday festivities. I must tell you a secret that I enjoyed multiple sweets this weekend and watched all my favorite holiday movies. I still have 2 more to go. But it's been a joy this time of year to break bread with people I love the most, especially during the pandemic. I know a lot of us are experiencing isolation, loneliness, and disconnection. So I feel fortunate enough that I was able to be around folks that I love, and to feel their energy and their spirit. But this morning, I want to guide us on a journey. So as we've been sharing, that today marks the beginning of Kwanzaa. If you're not familiar with Kwanzaa, it's a celebration of community, family, and culture. And it was established as a means to help African Americans reconnect with their African roots and heritage. And today, the first principle of Kwanzaa is Umoja, which means to strive for and maintain unity in family, community, nation, and race. And the colors of Kwanzaa match the Pan-African flag, which is red, black, and green. And it's a reflection of the Pan-African movement representing unity for peoples of African descent worldwide. So it's for Black folks who have lineage to Africa, and it's a way for us to connect across continents. So as we seek to acknowledge the great history of African Americans in this country, we must remember the history that brought us to this country. So European colonization throughout the world led to the kidnapping and exploitation of indigenous Africans, and they brought them to Turtle Island. So as enslaved Africans sought to live and work on this land, they developed culture, spirituality, family, and a new racial identity. So our honoring this history leads us back to the first harms of this nation, of slavery of African people, and the genocide of Native Americans. And as I reflect on the spirit of Umoja this winter season, I think about how the divine spirit draws us toward connection. I sit in deep thought, wondering how we build connection through such harms, through cultures of domination and violence. And I ask myself, how can we as a people of faith mend the wounds that this country has caused to Black and Native Americans? How do we address the religious trauma of white men developing theologies that support such acts of violence? And I feel called to connect our communities. That being a progressive people of faith, we must be guided in our principles to show up in communities during trying times. The overwhelming grief of COVID, the multiple losses of Black UU leaders, and the political chaos that ensues our country, it is easy to grow apathetic and hopeless. But what I'm reminded of by abolitionist Miriam Kaba is that hope is a discipline. And I implore you all to lean into that sense of hope. And what gives me hope as a Unitarian Universalist who believes in the inherent worth and dignity of every person, who believes that anti-oppression work is our values lived out, that the histories and trauma and Black and Native people of this country expose the true intentions of the settler colonial society. So on this Christmas weekend, I think of the wise teachings of Dr. James Cone, who likened Jesus Christ to a political prisoner who was persecuted for rising up and building solidarity with the oppressed. And in my own African pagan spirituality, I honor this legacy of Jesus and applaud his teaching of love. And I think that Dr. Cone allows us to engage with his teachings in a more radical and anti-oppressive way. This work makes me ask, how can we show up for the oppressed in this time? How can we be guided by our religious teachers to build a world where everyone is treated with dignity and respect? And how can we practice Umoja as UUs? How can we bring that into our faith tradition? As it relates to Black and Native solidarity, I hope in knowing that Black and Native people build land trusts in the South. Our communities were working together to protect and honor one another, even though there were strong efforts that were trying to divide us. We built beloved community through actions and accountability. Our ancestors realized that we were better together than we were apart. Often in the US, when we talk about history, we think of it as linear and in silos, and with a beginning, a middle, and an end. But that's not how humans function. Our histories are cyclical. Our histories are intertwined. And as I'm learning more about the first time of Europeans and the fact that they kidnapped indigenous Africans and murdered indigenous people on this island, I'm reminded that Western hatred of indigeneity and Africanness and Blackness is key to us understanding what we need to center in our healing work. So healing justice advocates will often say that you can't heal in the same place that you've been harmed. Well, I would also share that you can't heal from the same ideologies and practices that led you to being traumatized and oppressed in the first place. So leaning on African and indigenous ways of knowing has healing potential for oppressed people throughout the world. And in our understanding of Umoja, the exploration of healing practices from those lands and those people will help us make sure we're honoring our values of believing in the inherent dignity and worth of every person. We pull wisdom from our head, our heart, spirit, and our experience. In building beloved community, it calls on us to be good villagers, to support one another, be kind to one another, and have the community interests be centered. Our call as a faith to be in beloved community runs counter to the values of this country. We know as you use that hyper-individualism and competition will not save us. We know that white supremacy will not save us. We know that patriarchy and capitalism and ableism will not save us. Our commitment to our principles and our sources of wisdom and our anti-oppression work will allow for a faith community that values Black and Native community building, that recognizes first harm, and seeks to fund justice and peace for all people. So as you continue on your holiday weekend, I hope you can find some time to honor the struggle of Black and Native folks in this country. And I invite you into a loving relationship with their freedom journey. So I hope you can all go in body, mind, and spirit and think through how we can build beloved community, even during these trying times, in a way that uplifts the oppressed, that uplifts the vulnerable and marginalized, and that is generative and kind and loving. Ashe. Thank you.
Our invitation to generosity will be an invitation from Lucia Savage. Information on how you can give will appear as a link in the chat. A musical interlude by the Crescendo Choir and the words of our congregational commitment will follow.
Hello, UU Oakland. I'm Lucia Savage. I'm a member of the Board of Trustees, and I have been a member at this church since January of 1985. I first started attending in November of 1984, which makes it 37 years from about this month. This church has sustained me through a marriage, 2 babies, 3 surgeries, the coming of age of my children, their education through OWL, through the elders I've known and lost, the funerals, the weddings. And now it's our turn to sustain our community. COVID has been hard. It's been really hard for everybody. My own spiritual practice, singing in a choir, has been basically stopped. And yet we pledge because we want to sustain this community the way it has sustained us for more than 4 decades. This is your opportunity now to increase your pledge, establish your pledge as an ongoing pledge, and to make sure that this community has the financial resources it needs to pay our staff, ensure that we have amazing worship, support our children's programs, contribute to our denomination and to our mission in the world. Please give generously.
Please join me now, with your microphone off, in saying the words of congregational commitment, which are the way that we bless the offering. To the work of the church, which is weaving a tapestry of love we call community, we dedicate ourselves and these our offerings. Amen.
Hello again, beloveds. That was beautiful music. Now is the time for us to extinguish our chalice. I want to thank you all for coming together in deep community and spiritual worship and reflection and introspection this morning. So I just want to extinguish this chalice with the light of love, the fire of commitment, and hope for the future. And I just want to lead us all in a quick benediction. This is borrowed from a friend, Tom Shade, that I thought would be a nice send-off. My friends, there is a power at work in the universe. It works through human hands, but it was not made by human hands. It is a creative, sustaining, and transforming power. And we can trust that power with our lives and with our ministries. It will sustain us whenever we whenever we stand on the side of love, whenever we take a stand for peace and justice, whenever we take a risk. Trust in that power. We are together, held together by that power. Ashe.